Recording in progress.
Okay, so we discussed about the respiration as well, and I told you
Yeah,
the difference between the cellular respiration and the general respiration when we talk about. Can you tell me the difference?
between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration.
No, just when we talk about the respiration in terms of
Yeah.
photosynthesis, like the photosynthesis and the respiration and the cellular respiration. There are two types of respiration basically when we say in
Oh,
we basically categorize them into major parts, but the thing is same. When we talk about respiration, it means that your cells are getting energy. So can you tell
yeah.
me the difference of respiration and breathing?
Uh, breathing is
Mhm.
like it's like where you take in oxygen and you remove CO2 from your body, and respiration I think
Mhm.
is like
Bre-
uh
Yeah, breathing just
it's like
breathing. You can say breathing is just telling you the phenomena which is happening in the body. It is just about the mechanism. But when we talk about the respiration, in respiration we see what is happening inside the cell, what is the chemical nature of the things, like what oxygen is doing in our body.
yeah, it's
So,
like
yeah.
that you told me that the living cells breaks down into
Hmm.
glucose plus oxygen and it produces ATP.
Yes. So
Yeah.
why there is need of respiration in human beings?
To get oxygen and like
Hmm. To get
yeah,
oxygen, and what is the purpose of that oxygen?
to breathe.
No, it's not just breathing. I told you that like you have taken any carbohydrate and that carbohydrate is converted into a glucose, right? Into a glucose molecule. But your
Yes.
cells cannot get energy from the glucose. They need to convert
Yeah.
into a useful form. Just like whenever you have currency in the bank, in the application of the
Yeah.
your bank account, you cannot use that currency until you have in the form of cash, right? You need to use in the form of cash, or you need to have ATM cards. So
Yes.
that is the mean to use the currency. Similarly, the energy currency of our body is ATP. Our body will get energy from ATP. It cannot get energy from the glucose directly because glucose cannot
Mm.
pass through the cell because cells are too small. So your cell convert that glucose, and there is this process is done by respiration. The glucose, the breakdown of glucose into ATP, the conversion of glucose into ATP is done by the this whole process is known as respiration. And how many ATPs are formed from one glucose?
Uh, f
Mhm.
I'm
30,
pretty sure. Yeah.
36, 36. Okay.
That's,
One glucose
mm,
molecule yield 36 ATPs. And one ATP molecule, if we talk about one ATP molecule, it gives your body approximately 50 to 60 kilocalories of the energy. Okay, one ATP. If you talk about just one phosphate bond of that ATP, then you can say the 7 kilocalories. Let me open it. And
okay.
is this visible? Wait a minute,
I can only no.
I can share the whole screen. Okay. Yeah. I was telling you this one. That when we talk about as a whole
Oh, okay.
of one ATP molecule, so we say
Yeah.
that one ATP molecule gives energy about approximately 50 to 60 kilocalories, right? It will give you 50 to 60 kilocalories of the energy. But when we talk about just
Mm.
one bond, if we break one phosphate bond from the ATP, then your cell will get 7.4 kilocalories of the energy. So in the
Okay.
ATP molecule, there are three phosphate bonds. So ultimately, when you multiply this 7.4 with 3, you will get this answer. Clear?
Mm.
So this is just for one ATP molecule, and one glucose molecule is yielding 36 ATPs. So there is
Okay.
a lot of energy we get from just one
Mm-hmm.
glucose molecule. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is about the sensitivity. You know that we are sensitive. Not only the human beings, all the living organisms are sensitive. How they are sensitive?
Yeah.
They respond to the external environment. And how they respond? Can you give me an example?
Uh,
Like, for example, you have seen any danger in front of you. What will you do?
ref like your
Sorry?
reflexes,
Yes. What will you do? You will try to,
move.
yeah, you will try to move, you will try to escape that situation. So your
Yeah,
body will act to move from there. So this is what we say, that our body is sensitive to the external environment, and it is aware of the internal environment as well. The living organisms are also aware of their internal environment, and are able to respond to changes and restore the body to its normal state. Now, what they're saying, that whenever there is a change in the external environment, your body will respond according to that, so that your body will have a normal state after some time. Otherwise,
hmm,
if you don't escape that situation, what will happen? You will be, maybe if there is a dog or something, so you will get harmed, right? So
yeah,
your normal state will not regain. What they are saying, to restore your normal state, your body responds
yeah,
against that danger. This is what we say sensitivity. This regulation of
hmm,
internal environment is also known as homeostasis. Just like I told you the example of sweating, that in hot environmental conditions, there is sweating, and that sweating
you,
provides you cooling effect. So that is
yeah,
also one of the mechanisms to respond to the external environment. Similarly, what
hmm,
happens in the winter? How our body respond in the winter? In winters,
cold.
hmm. How it
Yeah,
responds?
so we don't drink too much water.
Yes, and I'm not talking about the clothing. I'm talking about the internal condition. Okay, just like you told me about the, we don't drink much water, as well as our body.
Uh,
Yes,
sweating.
we prioritize to remain at some hot place, right? Because
Yeah,
it's in our internal environment.
hmm,
And there is a concept of vasoconstriction. You will study this in the later chapter, that whenever there is cold condition, there is vasoconstriction in our body. Our muscles contract so that
yeah,
no heat can escape from the body.
hmm,
Okay. Maximum in winters, we tend to retain maximum heat in our body. So this is how our body
yeah,
responds. Then you have the growth, about the growth, and every living organism grows. They have mentioned bacteria and single cell creature increase in size. Many celled organism, single celled organisms are known as unicellular organisms. Okay, they are known as. Let me write it over here.
unicellular.
You have unicellular. Basically, when we talk about the, I told you yesterday about the five major groups. So the most
Yeah,
basic one, most simplest one was bacteria, right? That was
yeah,
bacteria. In bacteria, even you have unicellular bacteria as well. Unicellular means it is the organism in which there is just one cell present. That whole organism is made up of just one cell. Okay. And similarly, we have organisms that are multicellulars. Okay. Multicellular means human beings, just like human beings. We have many cells, millions of cells. Are you getting this?
yeah,
And multicellular, sometimes it is written as many cells
hmm,
in the books. And similarly, unicellular will be written as single cell. Okay?
okay. Also, bacteria is from like multicellular, yeah. So multicellular into bacteria into multicellular to human beings.
Yes.
Okay.
The simplest one is bacteria. The simplest one. That is
Yeah.
unicellular, right?
Mhm.
And then you have the multicellular organisms. Like, for example, this one I told you, yeah, this one. That the simplest one are the organism of the kingdom Monera. Then you have kingdom
Yeah.
Protista, then fungi, then
Oh,
plantae, then animalia. It is similar as that of the mobile phones. In the previous times there were mobile phones with buttons, So now there is advancement. There are mobile phones with touch screens, and there are so many advancements. Similarly, this is the scenario which we are discussing over here in the five kingdom classification. That organisms are arranged in these five groups. The simplest one are in the kingdom Monera, and the complex one are in kingdom Animalia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then this is what they are mentioning here, that bacteria and unicellular organisms increase in size while multicellular organisms increase in number of cells in their body. Are you getting this? Like for example,
Yeah.
they are saying that let's say there is a unicellular organism. This is a this is a unicellular organism. Okay, this was the maybe it is for 1 month. After a year, it will just grow in its size. Okay, it will just grow it in its size. This is about unicellular organism because in unicellular organism you don't have many cells. So obviously
A
this
little.
one cell will grow
Mm-hmm.
in size. Okay, grow growth in size. They ask in P1 that there can be options that about unicellular, multicellular, that how they grow. So for unicellular, the growth is in size, while when we talk about the multicellular organisms, like for example, multicellular organism, initially there was these cells, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After few months, the number of cells will increase, okay, the number of cells will increase.
So you is in growth and multicellular are in cells.
Yes, growth in there is increase in number. You will say increase
Increase.
in number of cells in
Mm-hmm.
multicellular organism. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have this is they have mentioned that many cell organisms increase in number of cells in their body become more complicated. That's why multicellular organisms are more complex because they have many cells, and those many cells will combine to form. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you about this. When you have uh, when we talk about the multicellular organisms, basically you have cells, right? Then those cells combine to form tissues in your body. Then those tissues combine to form organs, specific organ. And then there is organ system in your body. And
Yeah.
that complete organ system will will as a whole represent an individual. Okay. So basically this is the initial stage. In multicellular organism, there will be many cells. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar is the organization for unicellular organism, but the case over there is in unicellular organism you just have one cell. But when we talk about multicellular organisms, there are many cells. Those many cells will collectively form tissues. Okay, you have different tissues in our body. We will discuss in chapters like there are connective tissues. There
How
are
many type
connective
of tissues?
in our body. There are many
Yeah.
types. There are connective
Oh.
tissues. There are you can say there are compact ones and depend on the region where they are present in the body and what they are doing in our body. Okay, like you have nervous tissues in the nerves, right? There are muscular
Yeah.
tissues in the muscles, and there are connective tissues. Basically, when we talk about the at your level, if we talk, so there will be four types. Okay, the connective tissues, the mm, muscular tissues, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and there are nervous tissues present in the nerves, and there are the yeah epithelial. Okay, these are the four main types of tissues which we will be discussing in the IGCSE syllabus. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then these tissues will combine and they will form organ and organ system, and then individual. Are you clear till this? What we have
Yeah.
discussed? Okay. Now, yeah. So there will be complication when more cells will when the number of cells will increase, the complication will increase, and there will be change in the shape as well as there will be increase in size. You know how there will be increase in size? Obviously, when the cells are increasing, size will increase. Automatically, size will increase. If you see, the size is small, right? But over here,
Yeah.
the size is increased. So there is
Mm-hmm.
complexity, there is change in shape, and the size will increase. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
complexity will increase with time, size will increase, the shape will change. Okay, these all will happen in the multicellular organisms. But when we talk about the unicellular organism, there is just growth in the size. Okay, and they are not complex. Unicellular organisms are not complex. They are simple one. They are
Yeah.
simple. Here, they just grow in size. There is increase in their size, and their
Mm-hmm.
shape changes as well. Shape changes in them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Then then after growth, I hope you are clear with the difference of the growth in the multicellular and the unicellular organisms.
Yeah. I
Okay.
got it.
Then there is reproduction. Okay. When we talk about the reproduction, there are basically two types of reproduction: asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. And as well as there is, in the simplest organism, there is binary fission. Let me discuss it over here. When we talk about the unicellular organisms, if we talk about the reproduction in them, there will be just binary fission. Okay, what does it mean? It means this is this is an organism, right? This is single celled organism. So what will happen
Yeah.
basically? This single cell organism will there will be a structure like this. Okay, the inner projection at and at this side, and then there will be two individuals will be formed from this. Okay, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Simply, what is done? This single cell is divided into two. This is known as binary.
Oh,
Binary means two. Fission means to break.
got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is simple reproduction in the unicellular
Okay.
organisms, and that is binary fission. But when we talk about the multicellular organism, in multicellular organism, when we talk about the reproduction in them, you have basically two types of reproduction: the cellular, not cellular, the sexual reproduction, as well as the asexual reproduction. Okay, you know the difference between these two? What is the difference of sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction in the unicellular, multicellular organisms?
No.
Okay, when we talk about the sexual reproduction, it is the fusion of the two gametes. Basically, there are in every species. You must know in every species there are two pairs. There is a female organism as well as a male partner of that organism. There are male and female partners, right? Whenever you
Yeah.
see the organism in the kingdom Animalia, the multicellular organisms, they are all having pairs. Okay. So what happens is that in sexual reproduction, those two parents, we say two parents, those two parents, their gametes will combine. Okay. Basically, you
Mm-hmm.
have a male partner over here in every species, not only in human beings, and in there is female partner. Okay. And specifically, if we talk about the human beings, from the male partner, they it produces sperm, and from the female there is egg. So when the sperm and egg fuses, the individual forms. Okay, they lead to an individual. Are you getting this?
Mm-hmm.
New
Yeah.
individual, the baby. That's why the baby have the characteristic of both the parents. You will not see any of the baby who is having all the characteristic of his father or all the characteristic of his mother. There will be a characteristic of both. Why? Because that baby has got the genes from both the parents. Okay, these are known as genes. So that is the sperm from the male side and egg from the female side. They combine and then new individual form. Okay, when we talk about these, at this level you can just know about this, that the sperm is, this is haploid. Haploid means one N. It will be difficult for you at this stage, but you can, with time you will understand this. Egg is also haploid. Okay. When this one N and one N combine, the new individual will be 2N. Okay. 2N and it will be diploid. It means it has taken the characteristic of the male, of the
Both.
father and the mother. Okay.
Yeah.
So in sexual reproduction, there is, we can say, I can write the definition over here about this, that the, in this chapter you will see this in the characteristics about the of the living organism, and there will be a paragraph of the sexual reproduction. You can study from there as well. It is known as, sexual reproduction is basically known as fusion of two haploid gametes, one from each parent. Okay, one from each parent. Okay, to create a diploid organism. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then, when we talk about the asexual reproduction, there is asexual reproduction in multicellular organisms as well. In asexual reproduction, simply the gametes will not be involved. I can write over here the gametes so that you can remember it. Okay. Now I am talking about the asexual reproduction. When we talk about the asexual reproduction, you can write this or you can take the screenshot.
Okay.
Basically, in asexual reproduction, only one parent will involve. In sexual reproduction, I told you there are two parents. There was male and there was female, right? But in asexual reproduction, it can go from just one partner. There is no need of the other partner in asexual reproduction, as the name indicated. That A means no, sexual means that no sexes are involved, that no gametes are involved in this. Okay? Like no, both of the gametes are not involved. Just one parent can lead to the new organism. Okay?
Yeah.
And those organisms, yeah, one more characteristic I will tell you the difference of the characteristic of the sexual and asexual reproduction. That in asexual reproduction, there is just one parent and it will produce offspring. Okay, this is known as offspring. The new individual, you will see the terminology written in your book. It is known as offspring. Okay, when the gametes from the two parents combine, they lead to give birth to a new offspring. Clear?
Yeah.
But in biology, we say offspring, or simply you can say a baby, or like a new individual. Now, I was going to tell you about the asexual reproduction. I am telling you that in this there is just one parent involved, okay, and it will produce offspring, and those offspring will be genetically identical to each other. Okay, just like in the, there are some plants as well where there is happening this. Uh, Yeah, also just like this, just like binary fission in the unicellular organism, there is binary fission in the multicellular organisms as well. So let me
Yes.
write this over here first, that in asexual reproduction, we say that there is involvement of just one parent. Okay. Okay, and all the offsprings in of the asexual reproduction will be genetically identical to each other. Genetically
Yeah.
identical offsprings. You know why there will be no variation in
Uh,
asexual reproduction?
because of
Why?
one parent.
Yeah, because of one parent. When there are two parents involved, obviously there will be variation in the new generation because that new offspring is getting characteristic from both the partners, from both the parents. Okay, like you have seen your maybe your sibling or you have more similarity with your father or one of your sibling has more similarity with your mother, so it's the
Mm.
case that some of the characteristics of one parent may dominate in one offspring and the other may dominate in the other offspring. Okay, so there is variation in the sexual reproduction, but when we talk about the asexual reproduction, since in asexual reproduction there is just one organism involved, so there will be no variation. All the organisms will be genetically identical to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, and how they will produce? Like the I have given you the example of the budding as well. Like there are, for example, this is a multicellular organism. I am
Mhm.
just making it, and then there will be binary fusion of this. Okay, this
Yeah.
is asexual reproduction. You see, there is just one parent, so these two will be same. Okay,
Yeah.
they will be known as identical clones as well. You know the cloning process, the cloning.
No.
Okay, we will discuss that in the further classes. Okay, now I can give you the example of the asexual reproduction. You're saying, you know the yeast, it is having the asexual reproduction,
Yeah.
right? And there is Hydra as well. There is an organism. In the Hydra, there is asexual reproduction. In bacteria, there is asexual reproduction. When we talk about
Mm.
the, yeah, you know the potatoes, in the potatoes, there is vegetative propagation. That is also a kind of asexual reproduction. I'm just giving you the idea of the asexual reproduction.
Mhm.
Then there are starfish. Yeah, starfish as well. How starfish can reproduce asexually? If you see any
Because
starfish, yes, you can tell me.
like it produces eggs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, in some of the organisms, they can if they just slice into two parts, those sliced
Mm.
two parts can convert into two new individuals. Now, what does it mean? Okay, wait a minute. I am just connecting the charger. My laptop is going to, yeah, okay. Let's say there is an organism, and maybe this is an organism. I'm just randomly drawing it. And there was, due to some reason, it was sliced into two parts. Okay, from here. Now it is sliced into two
Mhm.
parts. You have basically this region, right? And
Yeah.
this region, right? So what will happen? These two regions, it is not dead. It is not dead. These two will be converted. These two will be converted into new individuals. Okay. How they will be converted into
Mhm.
new individuals? Like over here, there will be growth. On this side, there will be growth. Let me draw this. For example, this was like this. Now the cellular growth will happen on this side. Okay, I am just drawing with different color just to show you that what is happening. Now, can you tell me what type of reproduction is this?
Asexual.
Yes. Why? Why is it asexual?
Because it has
Hmm.
like one parent involved.
Yeah, just one parent involved, and when it was sliced into two parts, those two parts they form the new individual. This is known as
Mm.
fragmentation. Okay, this process of reproduction is known as fragmentation. It happens in some of the organisms. I am writing it over here. This is fragmentation, right? Because fragments are formed and those fragments are converted into new individual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the type of asexual reproduction. Clear?
Yeah.
So till now we have discussed about the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, and I was telling you about the variation. In sexual reproduction, there is more variation, and when we talk about the asexual reproduction, there is no variation. Okay, and that is the reason, you know, when we talk about the individuals of the sexual reproduction, we say that they can survive better in the external conditions. But when we talk about the asexual reproduction, the organisms which are produced by the asexual reproduction, they are not complex. Okay, so they cannot
Mm-hmm.
combat with the harsh conditions. Clear? Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yes.
by variations you have more complexity, and that is the reason those organisms, or those multicellular organisms, in basically in most of the multicellular organisms there is sexual reproduction. So whenever there is sexual reproduction in the organisms, there will be more variations, and those organisms are best adaptive to their environment. Best adaptive means they can adapt changes to their environment. They can survive for a longer time. In simple words, we
Mm-hmm.
can say the organisms which are produced by in result of sexual reproduction, they have more chances to survive as compared to those organisms which are asexually reproduced. Clear? Because
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
the organisms are asexually reproduced, there is less variation. And due to that less variation, they cannot survive for a longer time. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
There was just written about these two lines. I am just giving you the details so that we can, whenever there will be a chapter on the reproduction, it will be easy for you to understand things at that moment.
Okay.
You have any question, you can ask.
No, no.
Okay. So over here, how many categories of reproduction are there?
Two.
What are those?
Sexual and asexual.
And what is the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction?
Asexual has only one asexual has only one partner, either female or male.
Hmm. One parent. You can say
And
the offspring will be produced from just one parent.
okay, so and from sexual, it will be the offspring will be produced by two parents.
Yes. And that is why we say that in the offspring produced in result of sexual reproduction have more variation because
Mm-hmm.
that organism is getting characteristics from both the parents. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And in unicellular organism, what type of reproduction is there? Is this sexual or is this
Uh,
asexual? In unicellular,
sexual.
is this
Sexual.
sexual? How is it sexual? We just have one
Because
cell.
it has no, but it gives two binary fissions.
Now, binary fission means that one cell is divided into two cells. That one,
Oh.
initially there was one cell, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one cell was divided into two cells. So this is asexual reproduction. Clear?
Okay.
Always remember in unicellular organism, simplest one, there is asexual reproduction. Because
Mm-hmm.
you are just having that one cell. From that one cell is basically divided into two. Just like this case, this over here. That was one
Okay.
organism and it is divided into two now. Okay. So this was
Mm-hmm.
example of asexual reproduction. Okay. Okay. Now they have mentioned offspring are produced by the process of reproduction. Single cell organisms and bacteria may simply keep dividing into two. Okay. Now they are saying unicellular organisms, they divide into two. That is binary fission. I have given you the examples. That they just divide. There was one cell, one bigger cell. That one cell will be divided into two new cells, two new smaller cells. And those will be
Mm-hmm.
identical to each other. And many celled organisms, the multicellular organisms, just like plants and animals, they may reproduce sexually or they may reproduce asexually. There are both the cases. Okay, here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there is about the excretion. I am just giving you the overview. We will discuss it in the tomorrow's class. In excretion, what we say is that simply, whenever we have something, anything we eat, it's not the case that
It,
all the things are being used up in your body. There will be,
yeah,
yes,
excretion is like the waste in your body.
yes, it is the
Mhm.
removal of the waste products from the body.
Yeah.
Okay. There is just like such as the carbon dioxide, that is a product of respiration. Our body don't need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is needed by the plants. Your
Yeah.
body, there is intake of carbon dioxide, but that is not directly used. Direct use is of oxygen. Our body uses oxygen directly, and in
Hmm.
result, it produces carbon dioxide, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like when I can write the reaction. Maybe I have written it over here. Yeah, this one. If you see this reaction, basically, if you talk about this carbon dioxide is being produced by our body in result of
Hmm.
cellular respiration. Whenever
Yeah.
there is glucose in your body or any type of food, that food will be digested, okay, and then that food will be converted into useful ATP form, okay, useful ATP
Hmm.
form. There will be ATP plus carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, I can write it over here. And your body will use ATP, right? And your body will
Yeah.
use water. But your body cannot
Yeah.
use carbon dioxide because it is of no use in your body. So
Yeah.
what will be done with carbon dioxide?
Waste.
Yeah,
It
it
will
is a
be waste.
waste. It will be excreted
Excrete.
out. Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
will breathe the carbon dioxide out. And similarly, that carbon dioxide is being used by the
Plant.
yeah.
Plants.
So similar is the case that the plants they produce oxygen and we utilize that oxygen. And
Yeah.
we human beings we release carbon dioxide and that carbon dioxide is being used by the plants. Clear?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Then excretion. Okay, excretion involves the removal of waste products from the body such as carbon dioxide, a product of respiration, and then there is living organism expels these substances from their body in various ways. Now they are saying there is not just carbon dioxide. There are metabolic waste as well. Now what is meant by metabolic waste? There is in human beings we release the liquid metabolic waste in the form of urine and solid metabolic waste in the form of feces. Now, what is metabolic waste? Simply today, I am just telling you about the metabolism. You know the metabolism? What is metabolism?
I think it's like
Hmm.
I'm not pretty sure, but it's like the waste in your.
No, metabolism is, let me write it over here first.
I'm pretty sure it's something with the like the cells and
Yeah, yeah,
chemical
yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, exactly. That is about the chemical reaction. Basically, what happens is that there are different chemical reactions which are happening in our body, right? And those
Hmm.
chemical reactions are occurring. Why? To convert the food into different forms, right?
Hmm.
To convert the food into energy, and that energy will be used up in different processes, just like in breathing, in circulating the blood, in repairing your cells. Okay, your
Yeah.
body need energy for different processes to happen. So basically,
Hmm.
you have metabolism. Metabolism is simply we say it is a set of chemical reactions.
So what does metabolism do to your body?
Metabolism